Welcome to another episode of FYI. The weather is getting warmer and it's time for Long Island to show you its lighter side that will brighten up any spring shower. We'll show you how to learn in the outdoors, where to visit Long Island's history, and who's using a Ferris wheel to dance.
Also, we'll take a ride on America's oldest oyster sloop, show you where to let loose with your funny side, and pay your respects for April's Holocaust Remembrance Day. This is For Your Island.
From Bayside to Bay Ridge, from Montauk to Massapequa, and all points in between, this is For Your Island, a show about the people and places of Long Island.
Let me introduce you to a dance company that is far from your everyday chorus line. The Strub Dance Company from Brooklyn puts together creative routines with three things that you wouldn't think dancers depend on: super strength, plywood, and gravity.
Well, Streb is different. Streb is different from other dance companies because although I, Elizabeth Streb, have been well and beautifully and generously supported by the dance world, which is where we reside. In the end, I think in 50 years, it'll be clear that this is not really dance. This is action, art.
Seeing the just kind of ridiculously crazy things we do and the sheer athleticism of it, I think you come away from the show with a kind of renewed sense of personal, like, oh my, I could probably do something I've never tried. I could overcome those odds or those obstacles I have in my life, because I just saw, impossible things happen.
And I started with pretty simple ideas, like I'd do a dance, for instance, just with my body on the ground, or I would do an investigation of, like, that box that's up there. That's called Little Ease, and I measured my body, like how much room I can take up if I go like this, and how little I can get if I go like that. And I just found out within that very select and minute amount of space how many things were possible in that arena. We don't hire people we don't know at all, or we feel don't know what they're getting into, because it's often not a good investment. So they kind of have to know Strab and maybe have come to classes here or somewhere on our tour around the country. And having said all of that, just you got to be able to have like a completely, solid system. I prefer trained bodies. Unless someone's unbelievably talented, they need to have had many years of discipline to do this. Otherwise, they get hurt a lot. Then I want a certain heart type of person who enjoys slamming into things.
She wanted me to do things that I had already done. Can you do a backflip and land on your stomach? Sure, why not? Sounds fun. Can you climb this wall and jump off? Yeah. There was never that kind of issues of fear that a lot of people have when they come into this work.
They are method engineers. They have to, the interest, I think one of the things that fascinates dancers or movement experts about this technique is that, they're inventing systems to perform it and do it. And they actually are. If I design like the wheel, or I design the flying machine, or I just get a couple pieces of plywood and they fall, or a couple cement blocks and put them on cables, the dancers, as I choreograph with them, figure out how to do that. What move can you do that you've never done before, that no one's ever seen before, and that you're not sure you can survive having done it? Like, that's the looming question that I'm faced with.
Hang on.
It's been a complete thrill. I can't even think, when you're going through life and you're thinking, okay, what else could you have done? There's nothing else I would have rather done than this, and I couldn't have pictured this a long time ago. That this is what it would have been. It's everything I imagine it could be.
never look at dance the same way again. To learn more on how the Strub Dance Company defies gravity, sign on to www.strubusa.org.
We've recently discovered a way for Long Island to get back to its roots. Let's visit the Long Island Museum to learn more about American life and culture from the 19th and 20th centuries.
The museum was established in 1939 by Ward Melville. He got the idea to gather up all of the items in his collection and the items in the general store and make a museum about it, and that's how it started in the first place. The museum is located on 9 acres of property on either side of Route 25A. It's made up of 3 museum buildings, a gift shop, and 5 historic structures, all surrounded by gardens and lush landscaped grounds. The Long Island Museum is made up of an art museum, a history museum, and a carriage museum. Some of our exhibitions, our permanent exhibitions, are made up all of items that come from the museum's own collection. Other exhibits, like the Levittown exhibition, are made up of items that come from other places.
We have a large section on telling the story about how Long Island became a suburban place. We have an area which is just about the housing crisis of the 1940s, and then the last section is just about affordable housing on Long Island today. We change what we do all the time, and it gives people a good reason to come back. It's a lot of fun to do something that so many people are going to come to see and enjoy.
The Long Island Museum owns the largest collection of horse-drawn carriages in the United States. There are about 200 carriages in the collection, and at any given time there are about 75 to 100 on display. Inside the Carriage Museum we have a carriage machine shop that is actually a new installation here at the museum. There are 5 historic structures located on the museum grounds. One is a one-room schoolhouse. Another building on the grounds is a blacksmith shop that was a working blacksmith shop located in Setauket, and it contains some of the original tools that were used by blacksmiths of the time. There is also a barn and a carriage shed, and there is also a cemetery that is where mostly residents from Stony Brook are buried. We also own the largest collection of works by American genre painter William Sidney Mount, and we have revolving exhibits about his works in the art museum. The majority of the people that come to the museum are local residents, either from Setauket or Stony Brook. It really is like stepping back in time to see how people worked and lived in the 1800s.
I'd love to take one of those carriages on Hempstead Turnpike, but I may get a speeding ticket. Visit www.longislandmuseum.org to learn more about museum hours and current exhibits.
Allergies, trips to the beach, no more winter coats. In today's 60 Seconds On, let's see what spring brings to mind at Hofstra University.
Spring means to me flip-flops, tank tops, bright colors, flowers, and all those colorful things, and allergies.
To me, spring means the NHL playoffs. Go Rangers.
Well, for me, I love spring because it's baseball season. It starts. I love the Yankees. I love going to the games. And spring means that after spring comes summer. And I love the summer. I love the beach. So spring's great.
Play baseball.
Spring to me is all about sunshine and Cadbury eggs.
It's just happiness. Like chocolate. I like chocolate.
When I think of spring on Long Island, I think of like a lot of rain at first, and then out of nowhere, there's a day where it's really sunny, 80 degrees, and you smell like freshly cut lawns, and you're like, yeah, spring.
The Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center in Glen Cove educates the public about the history and harsh realities of this great tragedy. FYI visited the museum in honor of Holocaust Remembrance Day.
My father said, "Who will know what we're going through? Who will know?" So I promised myself after the war, as difficult as it was, Daddy, I will tell the world what we went through, what we suffered through.
We serve right now about 35,000 students and adults in this area, teaching them about tolerance, prejudice, respect for others, and so it is an extremely important program.
I knew that I was going to come here for many reasons, to let the world know that there was a Holocaust, that it was very, very important, that we pass this down to the next generation and hopefully continue to.
We have school groups coming to the center for one of two programs. They either come for our regular Holocaust program, which is a 2-hour program, where they come and we have one of our Holocaust educators give them an overview of the Holocaust.
Tell any difference between these children and some of your brothers, sisters, cousins, etc. And yet the Nazis felt that they have no right to live.
And then they hear the testimony of a survivor or a second generation or a liberator.
An American soldier who fought with General Patton in World War II and helped liberate 2 concentration camps. So I fill the role of the only liberator left here at the Holocaust Center to tell the story, because they've never, most of them have never ever encountered a living survivor of World War II or the Holocaust. Probably the last chance most students will ever have to hear the story directly from the mouth of someone who survived.
While the survivors are still alive, they are witness to what happened. Because in another few years, there's not going to be any survivors.
I want the people who leave here, whether they're middle school, high school, or sometimes adults who come here, I want them to leave understanding that it can be in your backyard.
The overall mission of the center is to try and increase tolerance, reduce prejudice, to have people realize that the Holocaust was a horrific period 60 years ago. We should not forget that, and from that, learn the lessons of it and use those lessons and apply it to today.
The most important thing is religious freedom. And unless we rid this world of bigotry, hatred, and indifference and intolerance, we'll go right back to like the days in France.
It should not happen again. When I look at a person, I don't see whether he is a Catholic, a Jew, or red or green or what. I see the man, I see the woman. Look at the person as a human being, then we could live in peace.
I'll never forget until I die.
The Holocaust Memorial and Tolerance Center makes each visit personal and educational. To meet more courageous survivors, visit the center on the Wellrun Preserve Sunday through Friday. It's time for a short break, but first, let's check out another Long Island fun fact.
Fun fact!
The Brooklyn Bridge was built on May 24, 1883. At the time, it was the longest suspension bridge built at a total length of 5,989 feet. Its towers were also the highest structure in the Western Hemisphere. With all of its accomplishments and inventive nature, it's no wonder why this bridge is not only still functional over 100 years later, but also a part of Brooklyn culture.
I heard you were finally seeing someone.
Yeah,
Well,
I've been seeing this person for a while. He's a lawyer.
a lawyer.
Yes, Mom, he's a lawyer. And we're in love.
A lawyer?
Now that better weather is on the horizon, why not take a step outside to check out the Alley Pond Environmental Center? Nature hikes, bird walks, and weekly workshops for adults and children. Alley Pond's mission is to educate everyone about the environment.
Children will inherit good things and bad things, and I think that we really need them to understand what it is that is causing these environmental problems and also try to come up with some solutions. The Alley Pond Environmental Center is an organization that devotes resources to not only educate the urban person, but to bring an awareness, a knowledge, and responsibility to the environment through education. Alley Pond educates 18-month-old children from elementary, middle, and high school, and also adults and seniors. The park and the land is over 630 acres, and it consists of various ecosystems, which is really wonderful. All of the programs relate to nature, to the environment, to living things, and how we can protect them and what our responsibilities are towards them.
Okay, Yasmin, you know, okay.
What my mission is here is to definitely have the kids learn to be stewards for their world, because there's so little, and if it becomes natural for them to be responsible for themselves and the world around them, garbage doesn't go on the floor, recycling, be kind animals, I think that we're starting them off on a really good foot. Today we're learning about our 5 senses, so we're learning about hearing, so we went outside and had a parade.
Go around the circle, Gino, watch the trick.
It's the first nice day of spring, so it's beautiful out there. I think they really enjoy coming, and we do a lot of nature-oriented things, animals, learning about your world around you.
A typical field trip for the schools would be a 2-hour program. We start off with a topic that the teacher selects, for instance, mammals or ponds or forests. And then we do that lecture. After that, the children take a walk to those places. And then the children come back to the room and see animals. And also they do a little craft project that they can take back to school. We do have about 50 different small animals here, and we use these animals to help the children understand other living things. Many of the children come from inner city areas. They have never touched a shell of a turtle or rabbit's fur, and this is a good opportunity for them to meet some of the critters that live on this planet with us. I remember we had a class from Brooklyn, and a little girl was pulling my arm, and she said to me, "Aline, is this the country?" And I really didn't know whether to laugh or cry, because I felt they have no framework of understanding of what a natural environment is and why we should protect this wonderful earth of ours.
Any nature lover would enjoy that place. To learn more about Alley Pond and its programs, visit www.alleypond.com.
Traveling along Long Island's North Shore is always a treat, especially on the beautiful waters of Oyster Bay. FYI took a ride on the Christine, a 19th century oyster sloop that's teaching area students about Long Island's oystering history. But it's not all about the past on board the Christine. Today, the ship's crew is focusing on the future and educating Long Islanders about the need to protect Oyster Bay's fragile ecosystem.
Christine is the oldest surviving vessel of its type. She's a New England oyster sloop. She's built to harvest oysters, and she did this completely dependent upon the wind and the tides. Christine was originally commissioned in 1883. In 1882, the first power company opened in New York and had 58 customers. So most people didn't know what a light bulb was when Christine was first launched. She spent the first years of her life harvesting oysters and clams in Oyster Bay. After 120 years, Christine returned to Oyster Bay in 1991 in near derelict condition. She was transformed by volunteers who came forward from the community, took the lines off the vessel, disassembled the vessel, and put the boat back together to give her a rebirth, really. Today, her mission is one of teaching the community to preserve the environment and teaching about the marine life in this beautiful estuary of Oyster Bay and Cold Spring Harbor. We dredge oysters and clams and horseshoe crabs and various critters that live on the bottom of the bay. And naturalists are on board to teach the children about the catch that we bring up in the dredge.
Subjects range from water quality testing to just sort of biological sampling, showing them what's out here. One of the tools that we use is called a plankton trawl. It's just basically a net about 3.5, 4 feet long, and that all sort of cones down into the cod end, which is just a bottle with some mesh netting on it that allows the water to flow through. We drag it in the water, and it collects plankton, allows the water to escape, so we're able to sort of concentrate a large area into one smaller sample. The students that we have that come out on the boat with us don't really understand that pretty much everything that they do can affect the health of the bay and the quality of the water.
A lot of people have the mindset of they live in their own little microcosm and it's somebody else's problem. But the fact is that we live on an island and it's our job to take care of it and to take care of the waters. It's a privilege to live on Long Island, but I think that a lot of people don't really understand some of the things that threaten it.
We get a lot of students that don't really get the chance to spend a lot of time on the water, and really just being out here on the boat is just a whole experience for them that they have never had before. Some of them might never have it again.
Yesterday, for example, we had a girl, a high school senior, who hadn't had the opportunity to be on a boat at all, and she was extremely trepidatious and tearful about coming on, and she had a hard time with it. And by the end of the sail, she was holding horseshoe crabs and asking about the animals and doing water quality testing.
The mission of the Christine and the Waterfront Center is to give people an awareness of the need to protect the environment and to give them an enjoyable experience of getting out and seeing the beauty of Cold Spring Harbor and Oyster Bay. We hope that the Waterfront Center is able to make the learning experience an enjoyable one.
Looks like you can teach an old boat new tricks.
Next, we'll show you that you don't need to go all the way into the city to see some good live comedy. Some of the best classic stand-up comedians got their start right here on Long Island. Get ready for a few laughs with the Brokerage Comedy Club.
And now coming to the stage, your host and MC, you see him on Comedy Central, Chris Monte.
All right, how are we? Like women, you think differently than we do, you know, and that's a problem. You think, it's not that you're smarter girls, you just think differently. We don't know what the hell you're talking about half the time, really. That's why we can't win arguments, right? So we can't win them because you put woman logic in an argument, boy. We're screwed. My girlfriend started a fight for no reason. She goes walking out of the kitchen screaming at me. She goes, "Did you eat the last apple?" I said, "Not ever. I think we can buy more."
There has been more comics
that have done the Tonight Show from Long Island than any other part of the world. So what are we, 100 square miles? Look at that history. You look at this stage you're standing on right now, you've had Eddie Murphy on here, Ray Romano, Paul Reiser, Richard Jeni, John Mulrooney, which, you know, you go through the list of guys that have been on this stage alone that you're standing on, and you're like, wow, I can't believe that.
But it's nice to see you all out and smile. Nice to see the couples out there. See all the couples. I am in the not married category. Do you have anybody in my group? Where's the not married people? Clap if you're not married. A few of us. A few happy people. Good. A few of us. Where's the married people? Make some noise, married people. Yeah, bullshit.
It's been truly amazing growing up as a Long Island stand-up comedian, because there's a difference from Long Island guys to New York City guys, and I think there's more of a camaraderie on the island. There's always a guy looking out for you, you know. It's always like, you know, you hang out with comics and then, hey, I got another room, I got another show, you know, come down and do my room Wednesday night and stuff like that.
I went to Catholic school too. Anyone here go to Catholic school? All right. How long were you in for? Yeah, and I was out in 6, and I was an altar boy. Anyone here an altar boy? Yeah, and no one touched me. You know, that kind of bothered me. What, was I ugly?
People think that all you got to do is go up and tell jokes. Well, yeah, people can do that. They can read a joke book and go up and tell jokes. But when you're writing stuff, and it's very difficult. You're always thinking, how long is it going to take? The shorter the joke, the better to get to the punchline. I mean, if you have something going long, you better have a big bang. If not, you lost them. They're ordering drinks and.
When you're on stage and you make a connection with that audience, and you ride it out and you have a great time. But my initial inspiration comes from just life, just family and people, and how ridiculous we are as humans.
Every weekend you see a different show. You know, people outside that come once a month, maybe even once a year to a comedy club, I get to see a different act every week, 4 or 5 nights a week. It's the humor and the background that they have. You know, you could see some of the backgrounds they have in their through their humor. You know, where they grew up, what they did, and to watch a different guy on stage every night doing what they love, there's nothing better.
See who's going to be here in the next coming months and come out with your friends. Get home safe, pay your waitresses, tip your waitresses, take care of them. I'm Chris Monty. Have a good night, guys.
I'll go anywhere that once housed Eddie Murphy. To see a list of events and upcoming shows, check out www.brokeragecomedy.com.
We hope we gave you many reasons to enjoy spring on your favorite island. I'm Sarah Rizvani.
And I'm Kiki McEnany. If you'd like to catch our show online, visit www.foryourisland.blogspot.com. Thanks for tuning in. We leave you with scenes from a sunny Robert Moses State Park.